Welcome to Ordinary People's Extraordinary Stories. And I've got a great guest on today. So, without too much further ado, I'm just going to bring him in and we'll find out all about him. So, Roman,
Yes,
welcome.
thanks for having me.
Welcome. Now, Roman, if you can tell me when and where you were born, and if you can describe to me what it was like where you grew up, the schools you went to, and the education that you received. So the platform's yours.
Yeah, so I was born actually in Toledo, Ohio. I was born, 25 years ago now, just a little over that, 25 and a half about now. And yeah, I grew up there for about 5.5 years in Perrysburg, Ohio, which was actually a suburb of Toledo, Ohio, from the city where I was born. And I grew up there a few years. It was pretty, chill, laid back. It was a very small town. We had some close family, or we had some close neighbors, I should say, and they were really, cool people we grew up with. They're still family friends to this day, the Scrubskis, as we know them. So that was a really, fun experience having lived in Ohio for those few years. Now I don't remember it fully, but I do remember some bits and pieces of it. I was, always one of those kids that after, you know, preschool, I would come home and then I would play some video games in the basement. Specifically, this one video game called Animal Crossing with them, with the Scrubskis and their kids. So that was a lot of fun. But after that, after we moved from Ohio due to my dad's job, we actually moved up to, or down to, rather, not up to, down to Arkansas of all places, um, which is actually right near where I'm currently at in Tennessee. But yeah, we were in Arkansas, and my family, my parents raised us there for much of the rest of our lives, and it was right outside of a city called Little Rock, so right in a suburb of Little Rock, roughly about 30-45 minutes away. And really, that's where I spent a lot of the rest of my life. Now, the experience I had growing up in Arkansas, as you would understand, it wasn't very diverse. It was more, just a bunch of people that like to hunt, fish. Obviously, in Little Rock, there was a little bit of a city atmosphere, but not very much. It was more suburban, in my feel. Like, I didn't feel Little Rock was much of a city, personally. But we did meet some cool people growing up, um, as kids in Arkansas. And personally, for me, I made some, a few close connections throughout the years, growing up there too, in Arkansas. But for the most part, it was a pretty carefree childhood. I would usually just go to school, come home, play video games, just like I did in Ohio, and that's what I did a lot. And yeah, just that was a lot of my childhood. Hung out with friends over the weekend, just did a lot of things that normal kids would do, especially ones that were in school still. And that's mainly what my childhood consisted of for the most part. I did play some soccer. I remember in school I did play a lot of soccer, so that was when I was actually athletic a little bit in my past life before I fully got into fitness to where I'm at today with much of my life. That's where a lot of my life revolves around for sure.
Wow. So a little bit of a flying look at your early life then. So going back to Toledo. Now, the only famous person I know that comes from Toledo is Max from MASH. So, so yeah. So, what was his name? Corporal Klinger. Corporal Klinger from
Okay.
MASH. Yeah,
Yeah.
he came from Toledo.
I've heard of the show, but I don't know the name actually.
Oh, you've never watched MASH? Well,
I
you
not
ought
not
to get
really.
it.
No, I've seen like very bits and pieces.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it was a big thing back in. I guess it was started in the 70s, but it's a brilliant, brilliant show. It's all about the Korean War. In fact,
Oh yeah.
MASH lasted longer than the Korean War, about
Oh
4 years
yeah.
longer than the Korean War. So,
That says a
yeah,
lot
if you get
then.
a chance to go back and watch some of those episodes, they're brilliant. Anyway, we're not
For
talking
sure.
about that. We're talking about your life. So, how much can you sort of remember about the times in Toledo? What was the street like that you lived on? And what was the first school, kindergarten? Can you remember much about that?
So I can remember a few bits and pieces here. So I definitely remember that the street was it was a pretty long road and a pretty long street. It was a subdivision we lived in, and I remember the school bus always coming up and down the street. Later part of the day in the afternoon. I remember seeing my sister get dropped off from the school bus at the house. I also remembered, helping not really helping, but rather watching my parents wash their car outside, and, I also do remember going to the, preschool, learning how to, trace and, write, words, and sentences.
Wow. So, how long were you actually in Toledo for? It was up until what, 5, was it?
Yeah, 5 years old. I also remember this, and this was a really good memory, especially being a kid. I remember going to Mr. Freeze. It was like an ice cream shop. So we went there
Ah.
quite a bit.
That's a treat for being a good boy, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
So, you said that your father moved jobs. What was he doing to enable you to move to Arkansas?
Yes, he was a computer programmer.
Ah. Nowadays, I guess people just work from home to do that. But I guess
Oh,
back
yeah.
then, it sort of lifted the whole family up and moved you to Arkansas.
Yes.
So, what was the move like? Can you remember much about the move? And did you have a U-Haul truck and all that?
From what I remembered, we didn't have a U-Haul truck. Now I'm trying to remember what we fully used. I know we did a lot of packing, to say the least. We had a lot of boxes that we moved with and moved from to the house in Arkansas. I also remember the move was very sudden, very abrupt. It wasn't very expected. Um, and I remember we all just got our stuff together. And once that was all in place and organized and sorted out, we just, yeah, just said our goodbyes to the Skrupskis, our close neighbors that were basically like
Mm.
family to us. And that really, it was hard. It was emotional. I remember them. They were, you know, teary eyed. They were sad to see us go, and it was an emotional thing for both of us.
Mm.
But yeah, ultimately though, we parted ways, not permanently. Luckily, I actually saw them last year. In fact, in Michigan, where they live now. But yeah, we parted ways, and then we went back on the road then to Arkansas.
Yeah. I mean, were you happy about the move, or you sort of you blamed your dad for splitting you up with your friends?
Honestly, I really was sad by the move. If it would have been me, I would have stayed, because I mean that I mean when you get connected to certain place with certain people, you don't want to just break away from any of that.
Yeah. Especially if you're enjoying life at that time. So
Oh
you
yeah.
moved across or moved down to Arkansas. What was the house like that you moved into?
I will say this, the house, at least when we got there, when we moved there, it was nice. It was a red brick house, very spacious. Had a huge like guest room or playroom as we called it then, and then also had its own office. master bedroom, guest bathroom, a bathroom in the master or connected to the master bedroom, and then another bathroom in the back with two bedrooms, and then of course a huge kitchen, um, and a garage and an attic. So I mean, it was a pretty spacious house to say the least. Very nice, well built, and the yard and everything was pretty immaculate.
Did you get your own bedroom?
Yes.
That's good then. So you didn't have to share.
No.
So
Also, what was interesting about the move to Arkansas is before we got to the nice, house that it was it was a little it wasn't really a welcome. I'll say this. It was not really a welcome getting to Arkansas. And like right as we opened the door, knowing the South and how it is. And it was around the summer that we moved there of all time. So it's not the best time to move there because it was really muggy, humid. And right as they opened the door, mosquitoes just, and I'm not even kidding, in hordes just came in. And I swore I was bitten to the, to no end. I mean, that was not a
outrageous.
good welcome.
So did that put you off the place to start with, or did you sort of that was just accept it because that was part of life at the time?
Honestly, I was not really, I wasn't very optimistic at that point.
So once you got settled in, then at the end of the summer, did you start school? And what was your
Yes,
new school like?
yeah, it was right during the fall. Yeah, the beginning of fall.
So what grade would you have gone into at that stage?
Let's see. It was like right at the end of my kindergarten, first grade.
Okay, so I guess there was quite a few new kids anyway going to. Was it a bigger school? Was it the new kindergarten?
Not really. I mean, it wasn't like insanely small, but it wasn't really big either.
Hmm. So were there many new kids that had come up from different schools, different areas?
Yeah, there were some, kids that came from Little Rock, Conway, surrounding like cities and towns from where we were at. It was a town called Bologna, a lot smaller then than of course it is now, but yeah, it
Hmm.
was not very not very busy by any means.
Hmm. So did you have to get on a bus to go to school, or did you? Was it in walking distance?
Yeah, so actually it was a combination of my parents taking me in and then a school bus.
Hmm. So can you remember much about it? The, that
Yes,
first
with
first
school,
day at
yeah.
school.
Uh, oh, first day of school?
Yeah, that's the worst one. Did you want to leave your mum? Did she drop you off at the gate?
Honestly, wow, that's hard. I'm trying to remember. I can't fully remember. And that's not a bad thing, I don't think.
Yeah, you could have been traumatized.
Yeah, maybe so.
So what was that first sort of school term like? Can you remember much about that?
The first term. I think honestly, to recall it the best possible way was it was just really me getting, familiar and affiliated with, anyone and everyone that was currently already going to school there and just getting familiar with the crowd, so to
Mm.
speak, just knowing who's here, which classes I have, and who's in those classes. That was a lot of what I was picking up on when I was going through school at the very
Yeah.
start, anyway.
So moving through the first grades, and was it all in one big school, or was it separate schools for your elementary, for your middle school, and for your high school? Were they
Oh,
all on the same plot, or were they all separate schools?
Yeah, so same town, but different, school buildings.
Hmm. So moving up into your elementary school, then uh, I guess that's your first school, isn't it? So moving through that, what was that like? Did you all move up as a class together, or was it different separate classes as you moved through?
Yeah, are you asking, like, did I move up with the people I grew up with, or did they just go to different schools?
Yeah, I mean, when you started in your first year one, did you move through with the same kids through that school, or?
Oh, yes. For the most part, yes. I mean, there were a few that actually moved away, a few that, you know, stayed, but it was mainly the same people. Yeah.
Yeah, similar group of friends moving through school together.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
good. So
Yeah.
moving up then to your middle school, what was your middle school like?
Yeah, my middle school, that was where I got, more into, outside of just the, basics of school and the subjects, math, science, writing, English. I also got into soccer. That's when I really started, wanting to play more soccer. And so I did a lot of varsity type, sports with soccer, and that was a lot of fun. And just getting to know people on a deeper level, not just with friends, but also possible, girlfriends and stuff like that.
Hmm. So that middle school then, I mean, fairly sporty. I mean, did you have the typical American football, baseball, and say you played soccer? Did you do the other disciplines, or is it just concentrated on the one?
Yeah, there were other ones, but I really just focused on soccer myself. That was about the only one I actually found that I really liked. It was, not super physical, but it was physical enough where I
Hmm.
enjoyed like the exercise and sport that it was.
Yeah, I mean, I played a bit of American football, and that's not too bad because you spend quite a bit of time stood on the sidelines, waiting to go on um, when the ball got turned
Yeah.
over. But I've also played an awful lot of rugby, and with rugby, it's a lot of running around all the time,
Oh yeah.
especially as a scrum half.
Oh yeah.
You're directing most of what's going on, so yeah, it's a lot of hard work. So American football is a lot easier, and I guess football. I mean, I've never ever liked soccer, so I've never played it. So I guess that's a bit more running around and worrying about what your hair's looking like and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. It is.
So you played in quite a few sort of varsity games. You go and play other schools. Did you have a good team? Were you in much of a league?
Yeah, so, I did a little, soccer with the school, that was more like when I did soccer with the school was more in high school, but before high school, I did play, like, soccer outside of school, with some people that I knew, that didn't even go to the same school, actually. And it was crazy because I actually played some soccer, and this was really in high school, but I played soccer with foreign exchange students, like one from Germany, one from Colombia, actually two from Colombia, and then one from Japan. It's pretty cool. Yeah,
Hmm. So you had an international team going on then.
almost. Yeah, yeah, basically.
Yeah, because I guess soccer's not that big in America yet. I mean,
Not, I mean, it's all right, but it's not like, yeah, it's not super popular like, NFL,
yeah,
NBA type stuff.
yeah, and baseball and stuff like that. Yes.
Oh yeah.
So moving. Well, let's just have a look. Were you into the arts at all? Did you get to play instruments, or were you a singer?
Yeah, I did play just a little. Actually, I'll say this, two interesting things. I so before I get into what I was playing, I actually did like, let's see, choir. I was like in the primary melodies. The school I was in, the first one was the Bologna Primary School, and I was actually part of the primary melodies, so part of the choir that would sing. And it was interesting because I actually, not saying that I align with the, political affiliation of this guy, but I was the, choir guy in that choir group, and I sang right in front of the Arkansas, uh, governor,
Oh,
so that was
wow.
interesting.
That, that would have been quite good
At the
fun then
time,
at the
yeah.
time. Yeah.
It was cool though, yeah, his name was, Mike Huckabee, so I sang right in front of him, so that was interesting. Not many
Very
people
good.
know that about me.
So there you go. There's a secret that's out.
Oh, yeah. And then later on, I did play just, very casually, but I just played it in my band class called, the instrument, the clarinet.
All right, clarinet. Ah, so I like a bit of clarinet. Ackerbilk, you probably never heard of him, but he plays
No.
some fantastic clarinet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, look him up, Ackerbilk.
I'll have to, yeah.
So, moving slightly on then. You were in part of the arts and stuff like that in high school. Then you were playing soccer. Were you doing some more theatre and stuff like that in high school?
Yeah, so I actually, it's crazy. I'll be honest. I did a little, well, I did this. I did a little drama. I took a drama class in high school. I never really did too much with acting because I was very shy, which is pretty crazy considering that's one of the things I've been working towards, as much as I can in my life right now. But uh, what is interesting though is I did take a oral, communication drama class back in high school. And yeah, my sister's drama teacher was Chris Allen's wife, actually, the guy who like won American Idol.
Ah,
So that was interesting. But I didn't have her as a teacher. I had one of the other drama teachers. But still, it was pretty neat
hmm,
just being in that same school.
yeah. So, what was your favourite class in high school?
Let's see. That's a great question. I'd have to say, hmm, that's hard.
I know I ask hard questions.
Yeah, I'd have to say, I mean, because I really did like English, I really did like science. Math, I wasn't huge on. Um, I liked English and science a lot.
Hmm.
Yeah, English and science.
So, other than maths, then, what was the worst subject? What was the subject you just didn't want to get out of bed for? The one that you dreaded going to school for?
Ooh, yeah. I would have to say, honestly, I'm good with numbers, and I don't like hate math, but just how it was presented and everything, back in school, I would probably say mathematics.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's move on a little bit and let's have a look at what did you do when you graduated? Did you have a prom? Did you take a date to the prom? Did you buy her a corsage?
Yes, I took my he was my friend for a lot of my, school life. Let's see. Her name was Elizabeth, so I actually took her. She had a dress. It was I think it was a red dress. Yeah. It's like a
Ah,
scarlet red dress,
go for
and
the woman
she
in red, hey?
oh yeah. That was fun though. I mean, we went to the local, DJ, and we had a it was like a little prom, uh, session and get together. It was really
Yeah.
cool.
We were dressed in a tuxedo. Did you have
Yes.
your dinner suit on
Like
with your
a suit and
with your
tie, yeah.
dicky? Now, with the dicky, did you tie it yourself or was it a pre-tied one?
Now, I believe that was a pre-tied one, actually.
They do tend to be a little bit easier to put on.
Oh,
Personally, I
yeah.
prefer one to tie myself, and I've got several for when I go out dining.
Heck yeah.
So, after your prom, once you graduated, did you graduate with honours or did you just scrape through?
Yeah, I just graduated, with a good GPA, but just straight through, yeah.
So, what did you do after high school?
After high school, I actually was considering at one point going to college, but then I'm like, I don't know, like it's not a bad option. It's not like it's, gonna kill me to do that, but at the same time, is it really and truly necessary for what I want to do in my life? Because I was realizing I didn't want to be a lawyer. I didn't want to be a doctor. So at that point, I don't really need college for if I'm not wanting to do those. And if I'm trying to just be, more of an entertainer, actor, model, be in fitness, have my own business, especially in the fitness industry, maybe I don't really need this then. So then I just strayed away from the idea and fact of going to college at that point. And then I just started to take any and all, you know, steps to move closer to the goals I was trying to achieve for myself.
Aha. And what were those goals? And have you achieved them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, to an extent, yes, and to an extent, no. Or I could just say simply yes and no. So it's always just been a work in progress for me, which isn't the worst thing in the world because always having that next thing to work towards or do is not a bad thing. It's what makes life, interesting. That's what makes life very, motivating and
Mm.
meaningful. But essentially, I'll have to say that I did, achieve, like, some of the things. I got some acting credits under my belt. I've done some modeling gigs, um, got some clients and still have clients for my fitness coaching, working towards getting more, and then just eventually wanna open up a gym and do other big things, get bigger acting gigs and modeling gigs too. So I've gotten some of the gigs that I never thought I would have gotten, got some clients more than I thought I would have gotten. So, I mean, I've made some of the headway into my goals, but not like fully yet.
Mm.
But it's a work in progress, though.
Life is. So, living in Nashville, then, um, what's that like nowadays? I mean, you still got the new Grand Old Opry because the old one closed down, didn't it? I guess it's still a big music scene and it pulls in a lot of musicians into the area. So
Oh yeah.
what's the theatre life like there? Is there acting opportunities for you?
Yes, there are actually acting opportunities here. I think there's some theater, but I think a lot of it is either obviously country music or there is some film, a lot more filming that has just recently been going on here in Nashville.
Hmm.
I will say, it's been a huge trend around Nashville, Atlanta, and even in the Carolinas. There's been a lot of filming in the Southeast region. I've been
Hmm.
noticing now.
And have you managed to get any jobs? Do you have a good agent that puts you out there?
I have a few. Actually, yeah, a few. One in Atlanta, two in Florida. And they're pretty good at what they do. I mean, they'll send me auditions as much as possible. So, and then I'll just, of course, pick those up and look through them and try to analyze them each as much as I can to try to perform the said audition as best as I can.
Hmm. So what's your goals for the future? Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
Yes, I would have to say, honestly, having had a gym opened up and then a supplement line and workout gear to go along with it. And then I would say having helped like hundreds of more clients just transform their overall minds and bodies both to lose weight, and gain muscle or even improve flexibility. And then from there too, I would say just having gotten a lot bigger acting gigs and roles and some modeling jobs and being on magazine covers too.
Hmm. So what would be your ideal role as an actor?
Ooh, that's a good one. There's a that's hard. It's split between two things because I'm really trying to do film acting and voice acting both. Because I've also been told I have a good radio voice and just a good voice for it. So yeah, it's either to be a voice actor. It's torn between being a voice actor for a video game, especially like a Nintendo video game, because I'm a huge, gaming guy.
Yeah.
I'm a kind of like I have an inner nerd in me. I know I'm a fitness junkie, but I'm also a video game junkie.
Yeah, the two
So
don't quite go
definitely,
together really. I mean, playing games, sitting, looking at a screen,
yeah.
working your thumbs out to sort of going in the gym and pumping a bit of iron. They
Oh yeah,
kind of conflicting a little bit, aren't they?
a little bit. But there are some health benefits of playing video games, improving hand-eye coordination.
There
Just
is that
not,
too.
but you just don't want to sit too long, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will say honestly, really between being a voice actor for a video game, particularly a Nintendo video game, that or being a actor on the big screen for a, let's see, like an action thriller type role.
Hmm. That's the sort of genre you would like, is it? The action films.
Yes, I love just kind of going and just having an adrenaline. I'm trying to say this adrenaline rush. Because when you have that, I just feel like it's that much easier to get into the role, and it
Yeah.
doesn't feel as fake to you. It just feels more real automatically. And then
Now,
also, I just love the darker tone and suspenseful, roles too.
hmm. So would you do your own stunts, or would you have a stuntman do it for you, a professional?
Ooh. So I have recently, and in my some of my past like smaller roles, I've done like you know things where I would like fall down, someone would like punch me, and then I would just fall back, acting like I actually got hit. So I've done like some, if you want to call them light stunts, I've done maybe that. So to an extent, I would be fine with stuff like that. But if it's like life or death type stunts, then someone else can do
Yeah.
that. Because that can be pretty risky at that point. Like Tom
Oh
Cruise's
yes.
stuff is insane.
That's that's why they have professionals.
Exactly.
Well, Roman, that's been a fascinating little chat we've had.
Yeah, it's been great.
So hopefully I'll take you down memory lane a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, you actually did.
Brilliant. Well, Roman, thank you so much for sharing your story.
For sure.
Well, there you go. There's Roman. What a lovely little story. He's grown up in a really nice area and all the rest of it, and now he's working towards living his dream. So until next time, TTFN. Ta-ta for now.